This video is going to be on eosinophils and basophils. Eosinophils and basophils, much like neutrophils, are produced in the bone marrow in adult animals, and they undergo differentiation from early precursors to their mature forms, which is the segmented form. And then they're released out into peripheral blood, where they have a circulating pole and a marginal pole, and they, after a few hours, undergo migration into the tissues. Causes of eosinophilia and basophilia are very similar, so I'm going to lump them together and pull out the exceptions. And those causes are worms, wheezes, and weird diseases. And by worms, I don't mean worms specifically, but more in general, parasitic infections, especially tissue parasites. And wheezes really means allergies or hypersensitivity reactions. And within the weird diseases, that includes some neoplasms such as lymphomas and mast cell tumors, and hypoadrenocorticism or Addison's disease. Now, most of the worms, wheezes, and weird diseases causes eosinophilia or basophilia due to inflammatory cytokines, which specifically target the eosinophils and basophils and tell them to undergo production. And I should note that eosinophilia is much more common than basophilia, and usually if you have a basophilia, there's also an accompanying eosinophilia. So throughout this course, you're primarily going to be seeing eosinophilia and not really basophilia. So most of the diseases, it's inflammatory cytokines causing increased production of eosinophils and basophils, but Addison's disease causes an eosinophilia due to lack of cortisol. And really the mechanism as to how that occurs isn't completely understood. Basophilia doesn't tend to really occur with Addison's disease. It's just the eosinophilia. And only a small portion of the Addisonian dogs will have an eosinophilia. Eosinopenia, there's one main cause for that, and that is stress. And with stress, the eosinophils get sequestered within the bone marrow. They're not released. Basopenia doesn't really happen because typically the lower limit of the basophil concentration in blood goes down to 0. So in most of our domestic species, we don't appreciate basopenia.